Welcome back, folks, to WrestleRant, where I give my in-depth analysis of all the pay-per-views that I watched on the WWE Network. Today, I'll be talking about the 2011 installment of WWE TLC. Personally, one of my favorite pay-per-views of all time. Easily one of my favorites. TLC pay-per-views, like I said, the same thing with my 2010 installment review. Love that show. Love this show just as much, if not a little bit more. But it's also up there, one of my favorite pay-per-views of all time, because I thought it was awesome from start to finish. So, kicking off the show for the United States Championship, Dolph Ziggler defending against Zack Ryder. Now, this was one of my favorite feuds of 2011. It's right up there with CM Punk and CM Punk and John Cena, Randy Orton, Christian. But you really underrate, you really overlook more often than not the awesome feud that Ryder and Ziggler had going. It first started up in September of 2011 of that year. It continued on through November and October and now into December. They finally clashed for the United States Championship, Ryder getting one last shot at the Star-Spangled Prize. This was a great match. These two have always worked well together. This was really no exception to that. So I really enjoyed the match itself. And, of course, the title change was the most one of the most memorable parts of this pay-per-view, and Zack Ryder winning his first and only singles title as of right now. I mean, unless he wins something else, I don't think he ever will, but that was kind of on my bucket list of things to see in wrestling for Zack Ryder to finally win a singles title. He did. I was very excited to see that. But still, though, a great way to kick off the pay-per-view is Zack Ryder winning the United States Championship from Dolph Ziggler. You see his dad having like a heart attack almost. It looks like he's having one in the crowd at ringside, so that was pretty cool. So great match to kick off the show between Ziggler and Ryder for the U.S. Championship. Up next for the WWE Tag Team titles, we had Air Boom, Evan Bourne, and Kofi Kingston defending against Primo and Epico. Evan Bourne had just come back from suspension. A lot of people thought they were going to take the titles off of Air Boom. Because of that, they didn't. They kept the titles on them for a little bit longer until Evan Bourne got suspended for a second time. But still, though, they had a very good, fun match here with Primo and Epico. It wasn't advertised in advance. They were trying to kill a lot of time on this pay-per-view. They didn't have many matches announced beforehand, so they ended up adding 3 unadvertised contests, 4 if you include the Money in the Bank cash-in, which is crazy. But still, though, made for an awesome show, and I'll get to that in a little bit. But the match itself, I thought, was very, very fun. Air Boom retained. They prolonged the tag team title change until January, until about a month later, when Evan Bourne got suspended again. So, fun matchup here, fun filler match from Air Boom and Primo and Epico. Up next, we had Randy Orton and Wade Barrett in a tables match. These two also having a pretty good feud in the latter half of 2011. Tables matches, like I've said before, can really be hit or miss. But I thought Barrett and Orton have always had good chemistry dating back to their series of matches in 2010, this year, 2011, and 2012, and 2013 as well, for that matter. But I thought this was a really good contest. There was a lot of different teases here, different table teases. Will it go through here? Will it go through here? Wade Barrett almost putting Orton through the table via a waistline at one point, which is pretty cool. But the finish would come when Wade Barrett would jump off the top turnbuckle, and Orton was laid out on the table, and Barrett was going to hit a diving elbow to Orton through the table. Orton dodged it and hit an RKO to Barrett through the table. Made for an awesome visual. It's still being replayed to this day. And like when for the advertisements for TLC on YouTube, stuff like that, it was a great moment. I would have rather liked to see Wade Barrett win, but I didn't have a huge problem with it. A, because Wade Barrett won a Survivor Series when I didn't think that he would. And go back and check out my Survivor Series 2011 review, cheap plug. But still, though, I thought this was a very, very good matchup from Barrett and Orton. And Barrett would go on to injure Orton, I think legitimately, too, in that stairwell spot a couple of weeks later on SmackDown. I think it was the final SmackDown of that year or so. They did a lot to put over Wade Barrett in 2011, so I didn't really have a huge problem with Orton going over here, especially since it came over with the fact that came with a fantastic finish with Barrett going through the table via an RKO. So, up next, the Divas Championship, another one of those unadvertised matches. Beth Phoenix defending against Kelly Kelly, a match that we had seen countless times before that year. They've always worked well together. I always think, to this day, I think that their best match together came at the SummerSlam pay-per-view of that year. All the other ones were okay to decent to just, like, fucking end this feud already. This was okay. Kelly really didn't do anything to earn a title shot. I mean, that's a common case in WWE even today. But, that's his nitpicking there. The match itself basically was what it was. I was very nervous that Kelly, they were going to give her back the belt here. Wasn't the case. Phoenix went over. Really nothing notable about the matchup, unlike the Eve Torres-Phoenix matchup from Survivor Series when she put her to the mat. She put Eve to the mat with a glam slam off the top rope, which was amazing. That was the only memorable spot about that match. Really nothing memorable about this contest, but it was what it was. Phoenix retains, still your Divas champion. Up next, we had Triple H versus Kevin Nash in a sledgehammer on a pole match. So initially I wanted to see Ryder and Ziggler in a ladder match for the United States Championship. Didn't come to fruition. We got these two in a ladder match instead, which was bound to bomb. But, in its defense, though, I thought it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Definitely not one of the best matches of the year, but for what it was, I thought it was enjoyable, and it was more so about the story that they were telling than it was about the in-ring action. I mean, Kevin Nash can hardly climb a ladder. Triple H did his best. Coming out of retirement for this contest. I think Kevin Nash's, not his final match, he was actually in the Royal Rumble earlier this year, but aside from that, he really hasn't been seen on WWE TV since. But I thought this was a better than anticipated match between the two. The story being told very, very solid, and the sledgehammer spots were okay. I mean, it was obvious they were protected. They have been for the longest time. Always have been, but it was pretty obvious here. But I didn't have a huge problem with that. Kevin Nash, when he was on his knees, doing the click symbol, and then Triple H would do the suck at DX, saying that he was aligned with them, not the click. It was great. So a good win for Triple H. And like I said before, not a classic matchup, but definitely a lot better than I thought it was going to be. So up next, another unadvertised matches. This show was filled with them. Sheamus versus Jack Swagger. Both guys were really not doing anything at the time. They never had anything for Jack Swagger. From after he lost the World Heavyweight title to just until 2013, just until this year, they weren't doing anything with the guys. So that really comes as no surprise. Sheamus and Jack Swagger have always had good matches. Even if the ending outcomes have always been extremely predictable. I think Sheamus has won almost every single fucking time they've ever faced off. But I thought it was a good match, though, so I really have no problem with it. So Sheamus went over here, just a match to kill some time, went about 5 minutes. So after that, we had the World Heavyweight Championship match, a chairs match of the World Heavyweight title, Big Show versus Mark Henry. I was not a fan of their series of matches. I was fine with their Money in the Bank match, if only because Mark Henry dominated most of it and he won clean. The Vengeance match was okay. The only thing people will remember about that was the fact that the finish, that both guys went through the floor. The Survivor Series match with Big Show delivering a top rope elbow to Mark Henry not through the ring, that was Vengeance, but delivering a top rope elbow to Mark Henry. That match ended in a DQ. So their series of matches weren't great. They had some memorable moments, but aside from that, they were not awesome matches as one could expect. And it was just really no different. Of the 3 pay-per-view or 4 pay-per-view matches they had that year, this was probably the worst. I mean, it's not hard to see why chairs matches are always bad. The 2010 one with Barrett and Cena was okay at best. The 2009 one between Batista and Undertaker, I've already talked about here on WrestleRant before, was not good. I did not enjoy that. But this was okay, but the fact that it was only 5 minutes really pissed me off. So I have no idea how a match goes. Only 5 minutes, especially if it's a heated feud. It's for the World Heavyweight title. And I was really pissed, too, because Mark Henry was doing such a great job as World Heavyweight Champion that they would, have him lose the title in only 5 minutes to Big Show, because that really made no sense to me. He knocked him out, got the 1, 2, 3. It's over, and Big Show won. But it'd be only a minute later that Mark Henry would take out Big Show. He would injure him. Daniel Bryan came out, cashed in Money in the Bank, won the World Heavyweight Championship to an awesome pop, made for a great moment, much more memorable than the match itself between Big Show and Mark Henry. So that was a great moment. So I was fine with this, if only for the Money in the Bank cash-in, but a great moment for Daniel Bryan. And based off the way that Big Show was looking after the match, the expressionless face and stuff like that, I thought he was the one that was going to be going heel, and he would go heel in mid-2012, but by that point, I just didn't give a shit. And Daniel Bryan went heel instead. Wasn't a fan of it until he turned into one of the best heels in the business at the time, which was surprising to me. But still, though, really enjoyed the Money in the Bank cash-in and Daniel Bryan, your new World Heavyweight Champion. So after that, we had the Intercontinental Championship on the line. Cody Rhodes and Booker T. This was another feud that I really enjoyed. I thought the build going to TLC was very solid on both Raw and SmackDown, kind of building up Cody Rhodes. I thought his feud with Orton was good, but he had never at one point defeated Orton via pinfall. Well, actually, he did on a few occasions, but, during the course of their actual feud, not before that, did he defeat Orton via pinfall? Orton won their match at Vengeance. He won the street fight. He was a sole survivor over Orton at Survivor Series, but aside from that, he really wasn't made out to look like a star against Randy Orton, so I thought this feud against Booker T was a lot better in that respect, that Booker T put over Cody Rhodes like $1 million. Cody Rhodes attacked Booker T on 2 different occasions on this show, so they really protected Booker T, and the match itself was good, but it was, the fans were pretty dead for it, and it's not really surprising considering the fact it came after a Money in the Bank cash-in. But like I said before, though, they had a good match. Booker T was protected for most of it. Like I said before, he was attacked twice, so they really wanted to make him look strong in the feet. And I thought their SmackDown match a couple of weeks later I think it was in the first SmackDown of 2012, I think it was, for the IC Championship, was better than this one. But that aside, though, I still thought it was a very good match between Rhodes and Booker T. Rhodes went over, still your Intercontinental Champion. So we get to the main event, triple threat TLC match for the WWE title. Defending champion CM Punk taking on The Miz and Alberto Del Rio. A lot of people have said this was one of Punk's best matches of his career. I wouldn't go so far as that. Maybe in his top 10, definitely. I thought it was a much better match than a lot of the matches that they've had in TLC in the past. The TLC 09 one, I thought this was better than that. The TLC match they had in 2010, this might have been even better than that. And I thought that was a great match, and I thought this match might have been more enjoyable. Punk, Miz, and Del Rio. Say what you will about Miz, but I think he works very, very well with both Punk and Del Rio. They had great chemistry throughout. Punk was kind of the underdog babyface taking on two heels. The action was very, very entertaining. A lot of innovative spots. Ricardo Rodriguez taking the fucking bump of the year, going from the ladder and through two tables at ringside, a ridiculous bump, which I guess, according to him on a shoot interview, he did not get a bonus for, which is ridiculous. But still, though, the match itself was very, very good. A lot of great action from start to finish. In the end, Punk got handcuffed to like a turnbuckle, and they've done this before. They did this with John Cena. I think just last year, too, at the 2013 Hell in a Cell, so they don't wait very long in order to repeat their spots. But, yeah, Punk got handcuffed to the turnbuckle, and I think it was Miz that ascended to the top, or I think it might have been Del Rio, and Punk still broke out of it, won back the WWE Championship, or retained it technically, and he was the victor of the match, so a great way to go off the show with Punk still your WWE Champion. So in the end, I thought this was an amazing pay-per-view. I think it's very underrated in that sense, because I think 2011 will always be remembered for that awesome angle between Cena and Punk, and the fantastic Money in the Bank pay-per-view from that July in Chicago. But this, along with SummerSlam of that year, I think are very underrated, because I thought this was one of the best pay-per-views, not only of that year, but since I've been a fan, since 2008. I thought it was a great match, or a great main event, and a lot of other great matches. Just a lot of memorable moments from this show, with Daniel Bryan winning his first World Heavyweight Championship, the excellent TLC match to close out the show, Zack Ryder winning his first and only singles title in the form of the United States Championship, Triple H or Kevin Nash competing in his last match. Not really all that historic or memorable, but it was, for what it was. And no John Cena either. I mean, I think CM Punk said on his recent podcast that the TLC pay-per-view did better than the year before when John Cena was headlining, and then the one without Cena, I think, did a better buy rate or something like that. I'm not exactly sure what he said in the podcast, but still, though, I thought it was a great pay-per-view on the whole, and absolutely I would recommend you go out of your way to watch it on the WWE Network. 2 thumbs up, especially right before the holiday season. A lot of Christmas ties into the pay-per-view as well, as you would expect. But yeah, really enjoyed this pay-per-view. Definitely go out of your way to watch it. That being said, folks, always appreciate your viewing. Make sure to check me out on Facebook, Twitter, and right here on YouTube by making sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I'm Graham Jason Matthews, and I'll catch you guys in my next video.